The phone rang at 9:04 on a Tuesday night. I picked up. Hello? Static. Then Vanessa's voice, sharp, angry. Michael, your mom stopped sending the money. Tell her we need it. The mortgage, the kids. Everything depends on. I realized she didn't know I was on the line. She thought she was talking to Michael on his cell. Vanessa, it's me. Silence. Then the line went dead. I sat at the kitchen table. The tea in my cup had gone cold an hour ago. My hand stayed flat against the wood. My phone buzzed. Michael. 3 texts in a row. Mom, we need to talk right now, I'm coming over. 13 minutes later, the door exploded inward. My son Michael stood in the doorway, his chest heaving, his fist still raised from where he'd kicked the lock clean through. He crossed the room in 3 steps, his fingers closed around my wrist. Where's our monthly transfer? His grip tight enough to bruise. You promised to help us. I didn't answer, didn't pull away. I just lifted my other hand, pointed to the window above the sink. He turned, looked. The sign stood in the front yard, white letters against red plastic. For sale. The garden David had planted for 30 years, the house where we'd raised our only son. Michael's hand went slack, his face drained white. He just stood there, frozen. Then Vanessa pushed past him. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. This is the story of how I lost my son and found myself again. But to understand why I did what I did that night, I need to take you back to when I still believed family meant forever. David and I married in 1983. I was 26, he was 28. We had the ceremony in his mother's backyard, 15 people, a cake from the grocery store. My dress cost $47. It was the happiest day of my life. We both worked. I was a nurse at County General, night shifts mostly. David built furniture in a shop downtown, tables, chairs, cabinets with dovetail joints that would last 100 years. We bought this house when Michael was 2, small, 3 bedrooms, but it had a yard. David planted tomatoes that first summer, then roses, then an apple tree that still blooms every April. We ate dinner together every night at the table David made. Oak, no nails, just wood glue and patience. Michael grew up in this house, learned to ride his bike in the driveway, broke his arm falling from that apple tree when he was 9. David and I were married for 40 years. The cancer took him 5 years ago, pancreatic, stage 4 when they found it. Near the end, he held my hand, his grip weak but steady. Take care of Danny, he whispered. We'd always called Michael that, Danny. But take care of yourself too. The life insurance paid out $380,000, enough for me to retire, to fix the roof, to help with the grandkids' college someday. I thought the hardest part of my life was behind me. I was wrong. The storm was just beginning. Michael met Vanessa 6 years ago at a tech conference in Denver. She seemed nice at first, brought me flowers, complimented the house, asked about David with what looked like genuine sympathy. Their wedding was small. I was happy my son had someone. But there were moments, small things. Like at dinner one night when she asked, "So, Ellen, what are your plans with David's life insurance?" I smiled, told her I was saving it for retirement, for the grandkids' college. The look in her eyes, just for a second, something cold, something calculating. Then it was gone. I didn't know then that I had just become a target, that those innocent questions were the first move in a chess game I didn't even know I was playing. A year after the wedding, Michael called. "Mom, Vanessa and I are looking at houses. We were hoping you could help with the down payment." $40,000, a large sum. I held the phone, thought about the insurance money sitting in my account, money David left for my future. But Michael's voice sounded hopeful, excited. "Mom, I don't want to raise kids in an apartment. I want them to have a yard, like I had." I remembered him in our backyard, 6 years old, catching fireflies in a jar. "Okay, sweetheart, let me help you build your family's home." Vanessa sent a text that night, full of gratitude, heart emojis. 2 days later, I transferred the money. After that, Michael's calls became less frequent. I thought I was helping my son build his future. I didn't realize I was laying the foundation of my own prison. After that first 40,000, the requests came regularly. Every few months. Sometimes more. Mom, Vanessa's car broke down. The transmission, $3,500 to fix it. I sent the money. Mom, Lily needs braces. $6,000. The dentist won't take payments. I sent the money. Mom, the roof is leaking. $8,200 for repairs. We can't wait or there'll be water damage. I sent the money. Each time, I told myself it was temporary, that they'd get back on their feet, that this was what mothers did. But something else was happening. Every time I sent money, Michael's calls grew shorter, more distant. Family dinners went from twice a month to once a month, then once every 2 months. I started keeping a notebook, blue spiral bound, the kind I used to use for grocery lists. I wrote down every transfer, the date, the amount, the reason they gave. $3,500, car repair. $6,000, braces. $8,200, roof. $5,500, medical bills. $4,000, new furnace. The pages filled up, the numbers grew. I'd sit at the kitchen table after each call, calculator in hand, watching David's insurance money shrink. $380,000 became $340,000, then $310,000, then $293,000. I tried to talk to Michael about it once, suggested maybe they could budget better. His voice went cold. Are you saying we're not managing our money right? No, honey, I just think. We'll figure it out ourselves then. He didn't call for 3 weeks. When he did, it was Vanessa who spoke first. Ellen, we're going through a rough patch. We'd never ask if we weren't desperate. She had this way of making me feel guilty, like I was the one being unreasonable. I noticed other things too. When they did visit, Vanessa would mention their neighbors. The Johnsons just redid their kitchen, granite countertops. It looks amazing. Or, the Millers just got back from Europe, 2 weeks in Italy. Small comments, but they lingered. I'd lie awake at night, thinking about Michael, about the boy who used to help David in the workshop, who'd saved his allowance to buy me a bracelet for Mother's Day when he was 12. Where did that boy go? The notebook sat on my nightstand. I'd add the numbers sometimes when I couldn't sleep. 40,000, 3,500, 6,000, 8,200. By the time I realized what was happening, I had given away over $85,000 in 2 years. And the requests weren't stopping. They were accelerating. By the time I realized what was happening, I had given away over $85,000 in 2 years. And the requests weren't stopping. They were accelerating. I drove to their house one Sunday afternoon, unannounced. Vanessa wasn't home. Michael answered the door. He looked surprised. Mom, hi, I wasn't expecting you. I was in the neighborhood, I lied. He made coffee. I sat at their kitchen counter. While he poured, I looked around. A 75-inch television on the wall, new, the price tag probably still in a drawer somewhere. White leather sofas in the living room, the kind that cost thousands. On the side table, a Louis Vuitton bag, $1,200 minimum. Michael handed me the mug. His hand shook slightly. How are things, honey? Financially, I mean. Oh, you know, still tight, lots of bills. Then Lily ran in. 7 years old, blonde pigtails. She held an iPad, the newest model. Grandma! She hugged me. I held her tight. But my mind was adding numbers. On my way home, I kept thinking about that Louis Vuitton bag, the new TV, the leather sofas. Michael had called me 2 weeks ago, asked for $4,000, said the furnace broke, an emergency. I drove home slowly, hands gripping the wheel. That night, I did something I'd never done before. I opened Facebook on my old laptop, found Vanessa's page. Her profile was public. Photo after photo. Check-ins at 5-star resorts, cocktails by the pool, shopping bags from Nordstrom, designer sunglasses. All posted in the last 6 months. The same 6 months I'd been sending them emergency money. I sat in the kitchen until 3 in the morning, the laptop screen glowing, looking at pictures of my money being spent on vacation while they told me they were struggling. I didn't cry. I just sat there. I had been too blind to see what was right in front of me. My kindness had become their ATM machine, But the worst part? I was still making excuses for them in my head. The following week, Michael called. Mom, we need $5,000. Noah had an emergency. Medical bills. I took a breath. Honey, I think you should handle this one yourself. I've helped a lot already. Silence on the line. Then, his voice. Cold. Unfamiliar. What did you just say? I said I can't help this time. You and Vanessa both have good jobs. You need to. He hung up. I called back. No answer. I texted. Nothing. 2 weeks passed. No response. I drove to their house. 45 minutes each way. When I got there, both cars sat in the driveway. I knocked. No one answered. I knocked again. Harder. The curtain moved. I saw Vanessa's face. Then it dropped. The door opened. Just a crack. Chain lock still on. Ellen, this isn't a good time. I just want to talk to Michael. He doesn't want to see you right now. You really hurt him. Behind her, I heard Lily. Is that Grandma? Vanessa's voice sharpened. Go to your room, Lily. I stood on their porch. The woman who'd given them $85,000, who'd held Lily as a newborn, who'd made cookies every Sunday for their visits. Please, just let me talk to him. You need to leave, Ellen. You made your choice. The door closed. I stood there for a full minute, then walked back to my car. Drove home with tears running down my face. That night, I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the look on Vanessa's face. Not angry. Satisfied. I didn't know it then, but I had just awakened something dangerous, something that had been calculating every move from the very beginning. A month went by. No calls, no texts, nothing. I left voicemails every few days. Michael, sweetheart, please call me back. I'm sorry if I hurt you. I just want to see you and the kids. Silence. I tried Vanessa's phone. Straight to voicemail. I sent a text. Can we talk? I miss the children. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. No response. Lily's birthday came in October. I bought her a doll, the one she'd wanted, wrapped it carefully, drove to the post office. 2 weeks later, the package came back. Return to sender stamped across the front. I called the school, asked if I could pick Lily up one afternoon, take her for ice cream like I used to. The secretary's voice went soft, apologetic. I'm sorry, Mrs. Hayes, but you've been placed on the do not pick up list. Only parents can authorize changes. I sat in my car in the school parking lot, staring at the building. My granddaughter was inside, probably in art class. She loved art. But I couldn't see her. My best friend Claire came over that evening, found me at the kitchen table. I'd lost 12 pounds. My hair had gone grayer. Ellen, what's happening to you? I told her everything. The money, the lies, the isolation. Claire's face went red. That woman is manipulating your son. You need to fight back. If I push harder, I might lose him forever. You've already lost him, honey. He's just not admitting it yet. Halloween came. I decorated the porch like I did every year, bought full-size candy bars, set them in a bowl by the door. The kids in the neighborhood would come, but the ones I really wanted wouldn't. At 8 o'clock, I heard voices outside. I looked through the window. Michael's car, parked at the neighbor's house 3 doors down. Lily wore a princess costume, pink and sparkly. Noah was dressed as a superhero, red cape dragging on the sidewalk. They ran up to the neighbor's porch, collected candy, laughed. I opened my front door, stepped onto the porch. Lily, Noah! Lily turned, her face lit up. She waved. Grandma! But Vanessa grabbed her hand, said something I couldn't hear. Michael took Noah's shoulder, steered him toward the car. Lily looked back at me, still waving. Then they were gone. I stood there with my bowl of candy, my decorated porch, my empty house. Later that night, I called Michael's number 1 more time. My hands shook as I held the phone. It rang twice. Then Vanessa answered. Ellen, what do you want? I want to see my grandchildren. That's not possible right now. Why? Because I didn't give you money? Her voice went cold. Because you hurt Michael. You made him feel like he couldn't count on his own mother. I've given you over $90,000. And now you're counting? You're keeping score? That's exactly what I told Michael you'd do. My chest tightened. I never said. You know what Michael told me? That you've always been like this. Critical, judgmental. He said you never thought I was good enough for him. That's not true. He said you'd try to control us with your money. That's why we were trying to be independent. But you couldn't let us, could you? Vanessa, please. I just want. What you want doesn't matter anymore, Ellen. Michael has to protect his family from toxic people, even if it's his own mother. The line went dead. I sat in the dark kitchen, the bowl of Halloween candy still on the counter. Claire found me there the next morning, called my doctor. My blood pressure was dangerous. 160/100. Mrs. Hayes, the doctor said, this stress is going to kill you. You need to take care of yourself. But how do you take care of yourself when your heart is being ripped out? I stopped eating, stopped sleeping properly. I'd sit in David's chair, the one by the window, looking at the garden he'd planted, wondering where I'd gone wrong, wondering if I was the villain in this story. If maybe Vanessa was right, maybe I was controlling, critical, a bad mother. The thoughts spiraled, dark, heavy. They had weaponized my grandchildren against me. They had turned my own son into a stranger. And the cruelest part? They made me believe it was all my fault. Then the letter came. A plain white envelope, from my bank, First National. I opened it standing by the mailbox. Dear Mrs. Hayes, we are writing to inform you that someone has requested access to your account information for estate planning purposes. The request came from Michael Hayes. Your son? We have denied this request, as you have not authorized any power of attorney or account access. Please contact us if you have concerns. My hands went numb. I called the bank immediately. This is Ellen Hayes. I just received a letter about someone trying to access my account. Yes, Mrs. Hayes. Your son attempted to obtain detailed financial information. We require written authorization from you for any third-party access. I never gave him permission. Exactly why we're notifying you. I hung up, checked my other accounts. My retirement fund. Someone had tried to log in, 3 times, from an IP address in the city where Michael lived. I sat down. The kitchen spun. This wasn't about helping anymore. This was about taking. Claire came over. I showed her the letters, the login attempts. Ellen, this is elder financial abuse. This is a crime. You need to call the police. He's my son. He's trying to steal from you. That night, I couldn't sleep. I opened my laptop, searched for information. Elder financial abuse signs. Isolation from family and friends. Check. Manipulation and control. Check. Unauthorized access attempts. Check. False pretenses for money. Check. I looked at myself in the bathroom mirror. Gaunt, gray, 70 years old but looking 80. David's voice in my memory. Take care of yourself too. Something shifted inside me. Not anger. Something colder. Clarity. That night, I realized something that changed everything. This wasn't about money anymore. This was about my survival. And for the first time in my life, I was going to fight back. Not with anger, but with evidence. Claire gave me the name of an attorney, Richard Bennett. He specialized in elder abuse cases. I almost didn't go. Walking into that law office felt like betrayal, like I was admitting my family had become my enemy. Richard Bennett was 50, gray at the temples, kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. Mrs. Hayes, tell me everything. So I did. I showed him my blue notebook, 3 years of transfers, dates, amounts, reasons given. He read through it slowly, taking notes. This is very thorough documentation. That's going to help us. Help us do what? Build a case, if you decide that's what you want. I don't want to hurt my son. Mrs. Hayes, your son is hurting you. There's a difference. He explained what I needed. Bank statements, screenshots of social media, witness statements, proof that the money was obtained under false pretenses. Can you do that? I thought about David, about the life we'd built, about the boy I'd raised. Yes. The next day, I went to the bank. I need copies of all transactions for the past 3 years. The teller printed them. A stack of paper 2 inches thick. I took them home, spread them across the dining table David had built. I went through every page with a yellow highlighter. $40,000, March 15th, 2 years ago. 3,500, June 3rd. 6,000, September 22nd. 8,200, December 9th. On and on. I made a spreadsheet. Claire helped me. She was better with computers. We categorized everything. Medical emergencies, $18,000. Home repairs, $32,000. Car problems, $21,000. Kids' expenses, $31,000. Miscellaneous, $25,000. Total, $127,000. I stared at that number for a long time. Then we went to Facebook. Vanessa's profile was still public. She posted everything. Claire showed me how to take screenshots. We scrolled through 3 years of posts. Check-in at the Maui Grand Resort, March 23rd, 8 days after I'd sent money for emergency furnace repairs. Photo of Vanessa holding shopping bags, Chanel logo visible, May 10th, 1 week after the $6,000 for Lily's braces. Picture of new golf clubs in Michael's trunk, August 27th, same month as the roof repair money. We printed everything, matched the dates to my bank statements. The pattern was undeniable. Money in, luxury spending immediately after. I put it all in a folder, a thick one. Then I started calling witnesses. Their neighbor, Mr. Thompson. He confirmed they'd gone to Hawaii. Beautiful pictures they showed us. Lily's teacher, Mrs. Rodriguez. She confirmed I was on the do not pick up list. I'm sorry, Mrs. Hayes. It seemed strange to me too. Michael's old college friend, James. He came over for coffee. James, did Michael ever talk to you about me? About money? He looked uncomfortable. Ellen, I probably shouldn't say. Please. He sighed. Last summer, we had beers. He mentioned Vanessa wanted him to talk to you about selling your house. She said the equity could help them buy something bigger. My heart stopped. My house? He didn't seem comfortable with it, but she was pushing hard. After he left, I sat in the kitchen. They wanted my house. The house David and I bought, where we raised Michael, where every room held 40 years of memories. That's when I understood the full plan. Drain me slowly, then take the house, one way or another. Richard Bennett had given me a recording device, legal in our state if I was part of the conversation. I called Michael. My hands shook as I dialed. He answered on the 3rd ring. Mom? Michael, sweetheart, I'm sorry for everything. I want to help you again, whatever you need. Vanessa's voice in the background. Then she was on speaker. We need $10,000. Noah needs medical treatment. Can I see the hospital bills? Vanessa's voice went hard. Either you trust us or you don't, Ellen. I trust you. I just want to understand. You want to control us. That's what you want. No, You give us the money first. Then we'll think about letting you see the kids. I closed my eyes, kept my voice steady. That's not how this should work, Vanessa. That's exactly how it works. You lost your leverage when you stopped being useful. The line went dead. I sat there, the recorder still running. I played it back, her words clear as glass. You lost your leverage when you stopped being useful. I sent the recording to Richard Bennett. He called me an hour later. Mrs. Hayes, this is coercion. Combined with your other evidence, we have a strong case. But there was more. Through a friend who worked in real estate, I learned something that made my blood go cold. Michael and Vanessa had been looking at houses, big ones, $800,000. They needed a down payment of $160,000. They'd already taken $127,000 from me. They needed $33,000 more. That's when I understood. They were going to bleed me dry, and when I was weak or gone, they'd sell my house, take the rest. Maybe they'd even put me in a nursing home, take control of my assets as my next of kin. It wasn't just theft. It was a long-term plan. I looked at the evidence spread across my table. 3 years of lies in black and white. I picked up the phone, called Richard Bennett. I'm ready, let's do this. Good. First step. You need to protect your remaining assets. No more transfers, Not a single dollar. What if they ask? You say no. Document every request, every threat, everything. That night, I did something I never thought I'd do. I blocked Vanessa's number, then Michael's. Changed my bank passwords. Set up alerts for any withdrawal over $100. Called my financial advisor. Moved money into accounts they couldn't trace. But Richard said one more thing that stayed with me. Mrs. Hayes, they think you'll cave if they pressure you enough. They think you need them more than your dignity. You need to send a message that you're done. A message they can't ignore. I thought about that for 3 days. Then I called a realtor. I need a for sale sign, a big one. I want it in my front yard by Tuesday. Claire drove over when she saw the sign go up. Ellen, are you really selling? No, but they don't know that. You're baiting them. I'm protecting myself. If they think I'm selling, they'll panic. They'll show their true colors, and this time, I'll be ready. The sign stood in my yard for 6 days. White letters against red plastic, visible from the street. I waited, knowing they'd see it, knowing they'd react. They thought I was just a lonely old widow who would give them everything to keep them close. They calculated every move, every lie, every manipulation, but they made one mistake. They underestimated how much a mother's love can turn into a mother's fury when her child becomes a stranger. 1 week after I recorded that phone call, Michael texted me. Mom, Vanessa's in the hospital. My chest tightened. What happened? She collapsed. Stress-related. The doctors say it's serious. She's been crying about how you abandoned us. The guilt hit like a wave. I drove to St. Mary's Hospital. 40 minutes in rush-hour traffic. Found her room on the 3rd floor. Michael sat in the chair by the window. He barely looked at me. Vanessa lay in the bed, pale, an IV in her arm, hair loose on the pillow. She looked fragile. Ellen. Her voice weak. I'm sorry for everything. I moved closer. What happened? The stress of everything. Money, family. I just collapsed. She reached for my hand, her grip surprisingly strong. I know we asked for too much. I was just trying to give Michael and the kids a good life. I grew up poor, Ellen. I never want my children to feel that shame. Tears ran down her cheeks. I felt my resolve softening. Then I saw it. Under the visitor's chair, partially hidden by Michael's jacket. A Prada handbag, new. The price tag probably still inside. $1,200 minimum. Vanessa followed my eyes, saw what I was looking at. For just a second, her expression changed. Then the tears came harder. I'm so sorry, Ellen, for everything. I stepped back. Claire appeared in the doorway. She'd followed me, worried. Ellen, can I talk to you? Outside? In the hallway, she grabbed my arm. I called the hospital before I came. They said Vanessa checked herself in this morning. Dehydration. Minor. She's being discharged tonight. I looked back through the window. Vanessa on her phone now, smiling. That night, I sat in my car outside the hospital and made a decision. I had spent 3 years being the victim, being the fool, being the walking wallet. Not anymore. If they wanted war, I would give them justice. Richard Bennett laid out 3 options on his desk. Mrs. Hayes, we can file a civil lawsuit, sue for return of funds. We can get a restraining order to protect you from further financial coercion. Or we can file a criminal complaint with Adult Protective Services and the police. What do you recommend? All 3, simultaneously. He explained. This wasn't just about getting my money back. This was about protecting elderly people from being exploited by their own families. I signed the papers. My hand shook but didn't stop. Richard filed complaints with Adult Protective Services, the district attorney's office, and civil court. The complaint listed everything. $127,000 obtained through false pretenses, emotional manipulation and isolation, attempted unauthorized access to financial accounts, coercion and threats. 2 days later, a woman named Linda Foster came to my house. She was from Adult Protective Services. 45, kind face, carried a thick folder. Mrs. Hayes, I've seen cases like this too many times. You're very brave to come forward. She interviewed me for 3 hours. When did the financial requests begin? How did they escalate? Were there threats? Have you been denied access to your grandchildren? I told her everything. She took notes, asked for copies of my evidence. At the end, she closed her folder. This meets the criteria for elder financial abuse and emotional abuse. We will investigate thoroughly. Then Richard sent the cease and desist letter. Certified mail, signature required. To Michael Hayes and Vanessa Hayes. It demanded they immediately stop all financial requests, return the $127,000 obtained fraudulently, and warned that criminal charges might be filed. Richard prepared me. They're going to retaliate. They'll try to turn people against you, spread rumors, maybe threaten legal action. I'm ready. Are you sure? Because once this starts, there's no going back. Your relationship with your son might be permanently damaged. I looked at the photo on my phone. Michael at age 7, gap-toothed smile, standing next to David in the workshop. My son already left me the day he chose money over his mother. I'm just making it official. 3 days after the letter was sent, nothing. No response, no phone call, no text. I lived in a strange kind of waiting. Couldn't eat much, couldn't sleep well. Claire stayed with me most nights. My phone rang constantly, unknown numbers. I didn't answer. Voicemails piled up, relatives I hadn't heard from in years, Vanessa's friends, all of them angry. How dare you attack your own son? You should be ashamed. Family is supposed to stick together. I deleted them without responding. On the 5th night, my phone buzzed. A text from Michael. We need to talk, face to face. Tomorrow night, 7 p.m., your house. I stared at the message. Called Richard immediately. They're coming tomorrow. Do not meet them alone. I'll be outside in my car, and you need to record everything. Here's what we're going to do. He explained the plan. I'd wear a recording device, legal in my own home. He'd wait across the street, monitor through his phone. If things got dangerous, I'd signal him. This is your chance to get them on record. Let them talk. Let them confess. I hung up, looked around my kitchen, the table David made, the window over the sink, the garden outside. This was my home, my territory. I knew what was coming. I knew they would try one last time to manipulate me, to make me back down. But they didn't know I had already planned the trap, and they were about to walk right into it. It was a Tuesday, 9 p.m. I spent the day preparing. Made tea, set out cups on the table like I always did. Richard helped me clip the recording device to my collar. Tiny, hidden under my cardigan. Claire wanted to stay, hide in the bedroom. No, this needs to be just me, just us. My phone had been ringing all evening. Michael, then Vanessa, then Michael again. I didn't answer. Then at 9:04, my phone rang one more time. I picked up. Hello? Static. Then Vanessa's voice, sharp, angry. She didn't know I was on the line. Michael, your mom stopped sending the money. Tell her we need it. Vanessa, it's me. Silence. The line went dead. My phone buzzed. Michael, 3 texts. We're coming over right now. You can't ignore us forever. I sat at the table. The tea in my cup had gone cold. 13 minutes later, the door exploded inward. Michael stood in the doorway, his chest heaving, his fist still raised from where he'd kicked the lock clean through. He crossed the room in 3 steps, his fingers closed around my wrist. Where's our monthly transfer? His grip tight enough to bruise. You promised to help us. I didn't answer, didn't pull away. I just lifted my other hand, pointed to the window above the sink. He turned, looked. The sign stood in the front yard, white letters against red plastic. For sale. Michael's hand went slack, his face drained white. Vanessa pushed past him into the room, stared out the window. You're selling? Her voice incredulous. You're actually selling? Maybe. Or maybe I'm protecting what's left. She whirled on me. Sit down, I said. Please, we need to talk. Vanessa dropped her purse on the table, pulled out a folder. The cease and desist letter Richard had sent. What the hell is this, Ellen? It's exactly what it says. I want you to stop asking me for money. Stop asking? Her voice rose. We borrowed. We were going to pay you back. Then show me the receipts. The medical bills, the repair invoices. Silence. Michael shifted in his chair. Mom, this is ridiculous. We're family. Family doesn't lie about emergencies. Family doesn't take $127,000 and spend it on vacations. Vanessa laughed. Sharp, cold. You've been spying on us? Tracking our purchases? That's insane. I've been documenting the truth. She stood up, paced. This is unbelievable. After everything we've done for you, all the times we visited, all the dinners, and this is how you repay us? Done for me? You've taken everything, and you've kept my grandchildren away because I wouldn't give you more. Vanessa's eyes narrowed. Those children are my children. I decide who sees them. You're using them as weapons. I'm protecting them from a bitter old woman who's losing her mind. The insult hung in the air. Michael finally spoke. Mom, please, just drop this lawsuit. We can work it out. How? By giving you the rest of my money? By selling my house? His face went pale. What? I know about the house you're looking at. $800,000. You need $160,000 for the down payment. You've already taken $127,000 from me. You just need $33,000 more. Vanessa's face flushed. Who told you that? Does it matter? It's true. She took a step toward me. You have no idea what we've been through. The pressure, the expenses. You're sitting on $300,000 you don't need while your son struggles. My son has a good job. So do you. This isn't about struggle. This is about greed. Greed? Vanessa's voice went shrill. You want to talk about greed? You're hoarding money your husband left while his son can barely make ends meet. That's a lie, and you know it. She slammed her hand on the table. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to drop this stupid lawsuit. You're going to give us the rest of Robert's insurance money. And you're going to apologize. No. Her face twisted. Then you'll never see Lily or Noah again. We'll move across the country. They'll forget you exist. You're threatening me in my own home. I'm telling you how things are. She leaned in. You're 70 years old, living alone. Accidents happen, Ellen. You could fall, get confused. Need to go to a nursing home. And then Michael, as your only child, would have to make medical decisions for you. The threat was clear. I forced myself to stay calm. Are you saying you'd institutionalize me to get my money? I'm saying you need to think about your future. And who controls it? Michael stood up. Vanessa, stop. This is too far. She whirled on him. Shut up, Michael. I've been managing this for 3 years while you've been too weak to ask for what's yours. But Mom hasn't done anything wrong. Your mother has money she doesn't need. We have 2 kids to raise. We deserve. I interrupted. You deserve nothing. You've lied, manipulated, stolen. You've turned my son against me. Used my grandchildren as hostages. Vanessa laughed. Prove it. It's your word against ours. And who will people believe? The successful young family or the paranoid old woman? I reached into my pocket, pulled out my phone. I don't need people to believe me. I pressed play. Vanessa's voice came through the speaker, crystal clear. You either trust us or you don't, Ellen. You give us the money first, then we'll think about letting you see the kids. You lost your leverage when you stopped being useful. Her face went white. You recorded me? In my own home, perfectly legal. You can't, I've been documenting everything for 2 months. Bank records, screenshots, witness statements, and this entire conversation is being recorded right now. I pointed to the device on my collar. Her eyes went wide. You set us up. I protected myself. She grabbed her purse. This isn't over. We'll sue you for defamation. For what? Telling the truth? Richard's voice came from the doorway. I'd advise you to stop talking, Miss Hayes. They spun around. He stood there, calm, professional, holding his briefcase. Richard Bennett, Mrs. Hayes's attorney. I've been listening from my car. You just threatened my client with physical harm, medical coercion, and custodial interference. That's on top of elder financial abuse. Vanessa's face went red. You can't. I already have. Everything's been recorded, and I'll be submitting this to the district attorney tomorrow. She looked at me, then at Richard, then at Michael. Let's go. Michael didn't move. Mom. Vanessa grabbed his arm. Now, Michael. She stormed toward the door, stopped, turned back. You're going to die alone, Ellen, and I hope you remember this moment when you do. Better alone than surrounded by vultures. The door slammed. Through the window, I watched their car peel out of the driveway. My legs gave out. I sat down hard. Claire rushed out from the bedroom, wrapped her arms around me. Richard sat across from me. You did great. We have everything we need. But I couldn't stop shaking. As I watched their taillights disappear into the night, I knew I had just declared war, and I knew Vanessa wasn't done. But what I didn't know was that she was about to make the biggest mistake of her life. The next morning, Richard drove me to the police station. Detective Morris worked in the Financial Crimes Unit, 50-something, gray crew cut. Former military by the way he sat. He listened to the recordings, all of them. When Vanessa's voice came through the speaker threatening the nursing home, his jaw tightened. This is elder abuse with coercion. I can arrest her today. Wait, I said. I want to catch her doing something bigger. Richard leaned forward. What do you mean? Vanessa said they're looking at houses. She's desperate. If she thinks she can still get my money, she might try something illegal. Detective Morris studied me. You want to set a trap? Yes. He looked at Richard, then back at me. All right, here's what we do. The plan was simple. I'd call Michael, tell him I was scared, that I wanted to settle everything, that I'd give them the rest of the money. One final transfer. They'd come to my house. We'd stage it like a normal meeting. But the house would be wired. Cameras, audio, everything. Police would monitor from an unmarked car down the street. If Vanessa made any threats or tried to coerce me, they'd move in. You understand this is risky? Detective Morris said. If she gets violent, she won't. She's too smart for that. But she'll talk. She won't be able to help herself. That afternoon I called Michael. My voice shook. Some of it was real. Michael, honey, I'm scared. I don't want to fight anymore. Can we talk? Just us. Work this out? His voice was tired. I don't know, Mom. Vanessa's voice in the background. Sharp. Tell her yes. Okay, Michael said. Saturday, 2 p.m. Just you and me? Vanessa will be there too. Okay, I'll have some papers ready. For the transfer. After I hung up, my hands wouldn't stop shaking. Friday night, Detective Morris's team came. They installed tiny cameras in the living room, 3 angles, hidden in the bookshelf, the clock, the picture frame. Audio recorders under the coffee table. A panic button I could press with my foot. 2 officers would be in an unmarked sedan outside. Detective Morris would monitor from Claire's house next door with a live feed. Richard coached me one more time. Let them talk, don't argue, don't fight back. We need them to feel confident, to say things they wouldn't normally say. What if Michael says something that incriminates him? Then that's what happens. But my guess? Vanessa won't let him talk. Friday night, I couldn't sleep. Claire stayed over, made chamomile tea, sat with me at the kitchen table. You don't have to do this, Ellen. Yes, I do. What if it goes wrong? Then at least I tried. I looked at David's photo on the refrigerator, taken 20 years ago in this kitchen. His smile wide, his hand on my shoulder. Take care of yourself too. I'm doing this for him, I said. He worked his whole life for this money, for our future. I won't let them steal it. Saturday morning, I dressed carefully. The blue cardigan David bought me, the one with the pearl buttons. I set out the blank check on the table, a pen beside it. The bait. At 1:45, Detective Morris called. We're in position. At 1:50, Richard texted. Remember, let them talk. At 2:03, I heard a car in the driveway. Through the window, I saw Vanessa get out first. She carried a folder. In her hand, papers I'd never seen before. The trap was set. Now I just had to survive what came next. I opened the door slowly, let my shoulders slump. Vanessa walked in first, business suit, hair pulled back, briefcase in hand. Michael followed. He looked tired, guilty. Come in, I said, my voice soft, defeated. They sat at the kitchen table, the same table where I'd fed Michael as a child, where David and I had shared 40 years of meals. Now it was a battlefield. I poured coffee with shaking hands. Some of the trembling was real. Vanessa opened her briefcase, pulled out papers. Ellen, let's make this simple. I sat down across from them, hunched my shoulders, made myself look smaller. I'm tired, I said. I don't want to fight anymore. Good. Vanessa slid papers across the table. Then sign this. I picked them up, tried to read, the words blurred. Power of attorney. Medical decisions, financial decisions, everything. If I sign this, then it's over. You can have your family back. I looked at Michael. He wouldn't meet my eyes. All of it? I asked. Everything I have left? Vanessa leaned forward. What do you need it for anyway? As I looked at those papers that would give them control of everything I had left, I felt something unexpected. Not fear, but pity. Pity for my son who had become so weak, and pity for Vanessa because she had no idea what was about to happen. What do I need it for? I repeated her question, kept my voice small. Vanessa leaned back, confident now. Ellen, let's be honest. You're 70 years old. You live alone in this big house. You have no life, no friends except that Claire woman. I have my son, my grandchildren. She laughed. You have what I allow you to have. Michael shifted. Vanessa. Be quiet, Michael. Your mother needs to hear this. She turned back to me. You've been sitting on money you don't deserve, money that should be helping your family. But you're too selfish to see that. I gave you $127,000. And we needed every penny. Do you know what it costs to raise children properly these days? To give them opportunities? To live in a decent neighborhood? You went to Hawaii. We deserved a vacation. We were stressed, dealing with your constant demands for attention. My demands. She kept going. Now that she thought she was winning, she couldn't stop. You know what your problem is, Ellen? You're weak. You always have been. David was weak too, content with your little house and your little lives. Michael needed better than that. He needed someone who could push him, make him successful. Is that what you call this? Success? Yes, we have a beautiful home, beautiful children. We're respected in our community, and we would have had more if you hadn't been so stingy. I looked at Michael. Is this what you believe? He stared at the table, said nothing. Vanessa picked up the pen, held it out to me. Sign the papers, Ellen. Give us what we need. Then you can see Lily and Noah twice a year. That's the deal. Twice a year. That's generous considering how you've behaved. But I wasn't the weak woman she thought I was anymore. I put down the pen. No. Vanessa's smile froze. What? I said no. I'm not signing anything. Ellen, don't be stupid. I'm not stupid, and I'm not weak. I stood up, my back straight. I'm done being your victim. She laughed. Victim? You're delusional. I walked to the drawer by the sink, pulled out the folder Richard had prepared, set it on the table. What's that? The truth. I opened it, spread the papers across the table. Bank statements. 3 years. Every transfer highlighted in yellow. $40,000, March 15th. You said it was for a down payment. That was true. But the rest? I pulled out the next page. $3,500, June 3rd. You said Vanessa's car broke down. But here's a screenshot from her Facebook, posted June 5th. Check-in at the Maui Grand Resort. Vanessa's face went pale. $6,000, September 22nd. You said Lily needed braces, but here's the dental office receipt, $180 for a cleaning. Where did the other $5,820 go? I laid out more screenshots, more receipts, more lies. $8,200, December 9th, roof repairs. But here's a photo Vanessa posted December 12th. New golf clubs for Michael, $1,200. And here's another. Shopping bags from Nordstrom, December 14th. Michael's face had gone white. He was seeing it all for the first time. Total amount taken over 3 years, $127,000, $90,000 of which was obtained through false pretenses. Vanessa stood up. You can't prove. I have witness statements. I pulled out another paper. Your neighbors, your co-workers, people who saw what you were really spending money on. That's circumstantial. I have this. I pulled out my phone, Pressed play. Her voice filled the kitchen. The recording from 2 weeks ago. You either trust us or you don't, Ellen. You give us the money first, then we'll think about letting you see the kids. You lost your leverage when you stopped being useful. She grabbed for the phone. I pulled it back. That's not all. I pulled out the final document, the one that made Richard's eyes go wide when he saw it. 2 weeks ago, someone tried to access my retirement account. 3 times. The IP address traces back to your home address. Vanessa's face drained of all color. You tried to steal from me directly. I didn't. The bank has records. The police have been notified. Michael stood up, his voice shaking. Vanessa, you said you were just checking on Mom's accounts to make sure she was safe. I was. You lied to me. Michael. About everything. I pointed to the camera hidden in the clock on the wall. And everything you've said here today has been recorded. The threats, the coercion, the admission that you control access to my grandchildren. Vanessa's eyes went wide. She spun around, looked at the camera, then at me. You set us up. I protected myself. There's a difference. She grabbed her briefcase. This isn't legal. You can't use any of this in court. I can use all of it. I'm in my own home. Recording devices are legal here with one-party consent. And I'm that party. I saw the fear in her eyes. Real fear, for the first time since I'd met her. Vanessa's fear turned to rage. You think you're so smart? You're just a bitter old woman who can't stand to see us happy. Happy? You've stolen from me, lied to me, used my grandchildren as hostages. We didn't steal anything. You gave us that money willingly. Under false pretenses. That's fraud, Vanessa. That's a crime. She laughed. A sharp, ugly sound. Good luck proving that. It'll be your word against ours. No. I pointed to the folder. It'll be evidence against yours. Michael stood frozen between us, his face gray. Mom, I didn't know about the retirement account. I swear. Didn't you? No. Vanessa said she was just making sure you were managing okay, that you might be getting confused. Vanessa whirled on him. Shut up, Michael. No. His voice rose. For the first time in years. I won't shut up. I'm done shutting up. He turned to me. Mom, I knew some of the money requests were exaggerated. I knew we didn't need all of it, but Vanessa said it was normal, that all families help each other like this. All families don't lie about emergencies. I know that now. I knew it then too, but I was weak. His voice broke. I just wanted her to be happy. I thought if I gave her everything she wanted, she'd love you? I finished softly. He nodded, tears in his eyes. Vanessa's face went red. This is pathetic. Both of you, standing here feeling sorry for yourselves. What happened to you? I asked her, not angry, genuinely curious. Were you really poor growing up? Or was that a lie too? Don't psychoanalyze me, Ellen. You don't know anything about my life. Then tell me. Help me understand why you needed to take everything. Because people like you have everything handed to you. You and David with your perfect little life, your little house, your little jobs, never wanting more, never pushing for better. We were happy. You were mediocre, she was shouting now. And you were raising Michael to be mediocre too, content with good enough. I saved him from that. You turned him into a thief. I turned him into a man who wants more from life. Michael spoke quietly. No, Vanessa. You turned me into someone I don't recognize. She spun on him. Don't you dare. After everything I've done for you, the connections I made, the life I built for us. The life you built with my mother's money. Your mother's money should have been ours. David left it to her, but Michael is his son. It's practically inheritance. David left it to Ellen, I said, because he trusted her to use it wisely, not to fund someone else's lifestyle. Lifestyle? Vanessa's voice went shrill. We have children to raise. Do you know what private school costs? What it takes to keep up in our neighborhood? Then move to a cheaper neighborhood. And what? Live like you? In a 40-year-old house with furniture from the 80s? The contempt in her voice was complete. Michael looked at her. Really looked. That furniture was made by my father. Every piece, by hand. Exactly. You could have bought better. But your parents were too cheap. They weren't cheap. They were careful. They saved so they'd have security in old age. Security. She spat the word. Your mother is sitting on hundreds of thousands of dollars while we struggle. You're not struggling. Michael's voice rose. I make 6 figures. You make nearly as much. We should be fine. Should be isn't good enough. The truth was out now, raw and ugly. I watched my son see his wife clearly for the first time. It was never about emergencies, was it? He said slowly. It was about keeping up, about having more than the neighbors. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with wanting the best? Nothing, unless you steal to get it. Vanessa grabbed her briefcase. I'm not listening to this. Ellen, you want war? You've got it. We'll countersue. We'll tell everyone you're senile, incompetent. We'll fight you for conservatorship. On what grounds? On the grounds that you're 70 years old and living alone and clearly not managing your money properly. I'm managing it fine, I'm just not giving it to you. We'll take the kids, move to another state, you'll never see them again. Michael stepped forward. No. She looked at him. What? I said no, you're not taking my children away from their grandmother. I'm their mother, I decide. We decide, and I'm done letting you make every decision. Her face twisted. You're weak, Michael. You always have been. That's why you need me. Maybe I am weak, but at least I'm not cruel. She slapped him. The sound echoed through the kitchen. Michael touched his face, stared at her. 3 years, he said softly. 3 years you've been manipulating me, using me, and I let you because I was too afraid to be alone. You should be afraid. Without me, you're nothing. Maybe, but nothing is better than this. Vanessa looked at me, her eyes full of hate. This is your fault. You couldn't just give us the money and be happy for your son. I gave you $127,000. How much would have been enough? All of it should have been ours. That's never going to happen. Then you're dead to us, dead. Do you hear me? She grabbed her things, headed for the door. Michael didn't follow. She turned back. Michael, let's go. He stayed where he was. No. What? I'm staying, to talk to my mother. If you stay, we're done. Do you understand me? Our marriage is over. He looked at her, then at me, then back at her. I understand. Her face went white, then red. Fine, fine. You deserve each other. 2 weak, pathetic people. I hope you're happy in your sad little lives. She stormed to the door, yanked it open. Almost ran into Richard Bennett standing on the porch. Miss Hayes, I'd advise you not to leave just yet. She tried to push past him. Get out of my way. I'm afraid I can't do that. Detective Morris stepped up behind Richard, badge visible on his belt. Vanessa Hayes, I need you to come with me to answer some questions. She looked at them, then back at me. Understanding dawned on her face. You called the police. I picked up my phone. I called them 10 minutes ago, while you were telling me how weak I was, while you were admitting to everything. That recording isn't legal. Detective Morris pulled out his own phone. Actually, Mrs. Hayes here was wearing a wire. We've been listening to everything from the house next door, and yes, it's completely legal. Vanessa's face crumpled. This can't be happening. You made your choices, I said quietly. Now you live with them. Detective Morris held out his hand. Come with me, please. We have a lot to discuss at the station. She looked at Michael one last time. This is your fault, all of this. He didn't respond. As they walked her to the police car, I sat down at the table. My legs wouldn't hold me anymore. Michael sat across from me. We didn't speak for a long time. Finally, he said, Mom, I'm so sorry. I know. I don't know how to fix this. Neither do I. Outside, I heard the police car door close, heard the engine start. My son sat in my kitchen. The son I'd raised, the son I'd lost, the son I'd fought to save. And I didn't know what happened next. As I watched them take Vanessa away, I knew the hardest part was just beginning. Not the legal battle, not the trial, but the question of whether a mother and son could find their way back to each other after 3 years of lies. Detective Morris read Vanessa, her rights on my front porch. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. She tried to pull away. This is insane. I haven't done anything wrong. Ma'am, you're being arrested for elder financial abuse, attempted identity theft, coercion, and making criminal threats. A second officer appeared, placed handcuffs on her wrists. Vanessa's face twisted. Michael, are you just going to stand there? He watched from the doorway, said nothing. Fine. I hope you know you just destroyed your children's lives. When this is over, when I'm proven innocent, you'll never see Lily or Noah again. Never. The officer guided her toward the car. She turned back one last time, looked at me. I should have pushed you down those stairs when I had the chance. The words hung in the air. Detective Morris wrote something in his notebook. They put her in the back of the police car. She stared straight ahead, face stone. The car pulled away. Michael and I stood in the doorway, the afternoon sun cold on our faces. Richard came up behind us. Michael, the DA is going to want to talk to you. Am I under arrest? Not yet, but you'll need to cooperate fully if you want to avoid charges. Michael nodded, still staring at the empty street. The silence felt heavier than grief. My son sat in my living room, the room where I'd raised him, where we'd celebrated Christmases, where David had taught him to play chess, and he looked at me like a stranger. Because in that moment, we were. The police station became my second home over the next week. I gave my statement 3 times, walked Detective Morris through every detail, every transfer, every lie. Richard sat beside me, made sure I didn't say anything that could be used against Michael. Because that was the question hanging over everything. Would my son be charged too? The district attorney was a woman named Patricia Henderson, 50, sharp eyes, no nonsense. She reviewed all the evidence I'd collected, the 3 years of bank records, the screenshots, the witness statements, the recordings. Mrs. Hayes, this is one of the most documented cases of elder abuse I've seen. Will you prosecute? Vanessa Hayes will be charged with 4 felonies: elder financial abuse, attempted identity theft, making criminal threats, and coercion. And Michael? She looked at me. Did your son know about the attempted account access? No, he didn't. Can you prove that? He was as shocked as I was when I showed him. She made a note. We'll need him to testify, against his wife. If he does that, and if his testimony is credible, we won't file charges. I nodded. But Mrs. Hayes, you should know, even if we don't charge him, his life is going to change. His marriage is likely over. He could lose custody of his children if Vanessa fights dirty. She will. Then he needs to be ready. Vanessa made bail the next day, $50,000, posted by her parents. The court issued a restraining order. She couldn't contact me, couldn't come within 500 feet of my house. But there were no restrictions on Michael or the children. That's when things got complicated. Adult Protective Services sent Linda Foster back. She interviewed me again, wanted to make sure I was safe. Mrs. Hayes, do you feel threatened? Not anymore. Are you experiencing any health issues from the stress? My blood pressure was still high. I'd lost weight, but I was sleeping better now. I'm managing. She asked about Michael, about whether I wanted a restraining order against him too. No, he's my son. He made mistakes, but he's not dangerous. Linda made notes, filed her report. Recommendation: full criminal prosecution. Victim showed clear signs of financial and emotional exploitation. Perpetrator used systematic isolation and coercion. Then the media found out. A reporter from the local news called. Mrs. Hayes, we've heard about your case. Would you be willing to tell your story? Richard advised against it. Keep quiet until after the trial. But the story got out anyway. Local woman fights back against family abuse. The article kept my name private, but it included enough details that people knew. My phone rang constantly. Other elderly people, other victims. My daughter did the same thing. My son-in-law has been taking money for years. Thank you for speaking up. The comments online were mixed. Good for her. Family isn't an excuse to steal. How could a mother do this to her own son? This is why I don't trust anyone with my money. Family should handle problems privately. I stopped reading them. A forensic accountant traced where all the money went. $40,000 to the house down payment, legitimate. $87,000 to luxury goods, vacations, cars, jewelry, designer clothes. Less than 15% went to the children's actual needs. The accountant's report was damning. This money was systematically diverted from its stated purposes to fund a lifestyle the defendants could not afford on their own income. The court froze all of Michael and Vanessa's joint accounts. Vanessa hired a lawyer, an expensive one, started building her defense. Her strategy became clear from the first motion she filed. Ellen Hayes is elderly and confused. She voluntarily gave money to family members. Now she regrets it and is weaponizing the legal system out of spite. When I read that, I felt something break inside me. Not anger, not even hurt. Just a deep, cold understanding. This was going to get worse before it got better. As I left the police station that evening, I saw Michael sitting in his car across the street. He'd been crying. And for a moment, I wanted to go to him, to hold him like I did when he was 5 years old and scared of the dark. But I didn't, because the wound now was too deep for a mother's touch to heal. 3 weeks later, Michael texted me. "Mom, can I see you? Alone, please." I showed the message to Richard. "Should I?" "That's your choice, but don't go alone, and don't make any promises." I agreed to meet at a coffee shop, public, neutral ground. Claire came with me, sat at a table across the room, just in case. Michael arrived 10 minutes early. He looked terrible, thinner, unshaven, dark circles under his eyes. I sat down across from him, ordered nothing. The silence stretched between us. Finally, he spoke. "I don't know how to start." "Start with the truth. Vanessa left me." "What?" "She filed for divorce, 2 days after her arrest, said I was weak, that I ruined everything by not controlling you." I said nothing. "She took the kids to her parents' house in Oregon. I only get supervised visitation, because the court thinks I might be charged too." "Will you cooperate with the DA?" He nodded. "That's why I'm here, to ask what you want me to do." "What I want?" "Yes. Do you want me to testify against her?" The DA said, "If I do, they'll consider not filing charges against me." "Michael, I want you to do what's right, not what keeps you out of trouble." He looked at his hands. "I don't know what's right anymore." "Tell me what happened. The truth. All of it." He took a breath. "It started small. Vanessa would say things like, 'Your mom has all that insurance money. She could help us with the house.' And it made sense. You were alone. We were starting a family. The $40,000 for the down payment. Yes, that was real. We needed it. But then," he stopped. Started again. Then Vanessa realized how easy it was. You never said no. Never asked questions. She'd come up with a reason. I'd call you. You'd send the money. Even when the reasons were lies. I didn't know all of them were lies, I swear. The car really did need work once. Lily really did need dental work. But Vanessa would take the money and add to it. Use it for other things. Like Hawaii. He winced. I told her that was wrong, that we should tell you. She said you'd offered to help, that this was what family did. Did you believe her? I wanted to believe her. Because if I didn't, then I had to admit what I was doing, what I'd become. A man who lied to his mother. He started crying. "I'm so sorry, Mom. I knew it was wrong. Every time I called you, every time I asked for money, I knew we didn't really need. I knew." "Then why did you keep doing it?" "Because I was afraid of losing Vanessa, of being alone, of admitting that I'd married someone who only loved me for what I could provide." "Did you know about her trying to access my accounts?" "No. I swear on Dad's grave, I didn't know about that. She told me she was checking your accounts to make sure you weren't being scammed. That you were getting older and might not notice if someone was stealing from you." The irony was bitter. "What about keeping the kids from me?" His face crumpled. "That was the worst part. I hated it, but Vanessa said you were toxic, that you were trying to control us, and I believed her because it was easier than fighting. You chose her over me." "Yes, and I'll regret that for the rest of my life." We sat in silence. Other people's conversations buzzed around us. Mom, I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't even know if I can forgive myself. But I need you to know something. What? The night before Dad died, he asked me to promise something. He said, "Take care of your mother, Danny. But take care of yourself too." I remembered. David had said almost the same thing to me. "I failed both parts of that promise," Michael said. "I didn't take care of you, and I let someone destroy who I was." "You're getting therapy?" 3 times a week, and I hired a lawyer, for custody. I'm going to fight for Lily and Noah. Good. Will you help me? Help you how? Come with me to the DA. Tell them I didn't know about the fraud, that I was stupid and weak, but not criminal. I looked at my son, the man who'd betrayed me, the boy I'd raised. Will you testify against Vanessa? Yes. She manipulated both of us, Mom. She used me to hurt you, and she'd do it to someone else if she could. I thought about it, about justice, about mercy, about what David would have wanted. I'll come with you. I'll tell them the truth, that I believe you didn't know about the account access. Thank you. But Michael, about us, about rebuilding trust, that's going to take time. How much time? I don't know. Maybe years, maybe forever. He nodded. I'll wait, however long it takes. What about the children? Vanessa's parents won't let you near them, not while the case is ongoing. My heart broke again. Then we fight for them, together. For the first time in 3 years, I saw something in my son's eyes that I recognized. Determination, the kind David used to have. Together, he agreed. As we left the coffee shop, Michael asked, "Can I hug you?" I looked at him for a long moment, then opened my arms. He held me tight, crying into my shoulder like he used to when he was small. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was a beginning. This wound would take years to heal, but maybe, just maybe, we could find our way back to each other. The trial started 3 months later. Vanessa pleaded not guilty to all charges. Her defense attorney was a man named Thomas Shepard, expensive suit, slicked back hair, the kind of lawyer who made you feel dirty just looking at him. His strategy was clear from opening statements. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a case about crime. This is a case about family, about a bitter elderly woman who regrets being generous, who now wants revenge because her son chose his wife over his mother. I sat in the front row, listened to him paint me as the villain. The prosecutor was Patricia Henderson, the DA herself. She rarely tried cases anymore, but she'd taken this one personally. This is a case about predation, about a woman who targeted a vulnerable widow, who systematically manipulated, lied, and stole, who threatened violence when her victim finally said no. The evidence will show that Vanessa Hayes is not a loving daughter-in-law. She's a criminal. The jury was 7 women and 5 men, ages ranging from 30s to 60s. I watched them watch me, wondered what they saw. The first 2 days were financial evidence. The forensic accountant walked the jury through every transfer, showed them the pattern: money in, luxury spending immediately after. This is not a family helping each other. This is systematic exploitation. Vanessa's lawyer tried to dismiss it. Families share money all the time. There's no crime in accepting help from a parent, even when that help is obtained through lies. Where's the proof of lies? That's when they brought in the witnesses. Mr. Thompson, their neighbor, confirmed the Hawaii trip. They showed us photos, said it was the vacation of a lifetime. The dates matched the emergency furnace repair. Lily's teacher confirmed the do not pick up list. It seemed strange. Mrs. Hayes had always been involved. Michael's friend James testified about the conversation regarding selling my house. Michael seemed uncomfortable with it, but Vanessa was pushing. Then, it was my turn. I walked to the witness stand, my legs shaking, raised my right hand, swore to tell the truth. Patricia Henderson asked me to start at the beginning. So I did. I told them about meeting Vanessa, about the first request for money, about how the requests grew, about the isolation from my grandchildren. "Mrs. Hayes, why did you keep giving them money?" "Because I loved my son, and I thought if I helped enough, I'd be part of their lives." "And were you?" "No. The more I gave, the less I mattered." She played the recording, The one where Vanessa said I'd lost my leverage when I stopped being useful. The jury leaned forward, listened carefully. Then came the hardest part. Mrs. Hayes, at any point did you feel physically threatened? Yes. When Vanessa said accidents happen, that I could fall, that I might need to be in a nursing home. What did you understand that to mean? That if I didn't give her what she wanted, she'd find a way to take it. Thomas Shepard's cross-examination was brutal. Mrs. Hayes, you gave money voluntarily, correct? Under false pretenses. But you wrote the checks yourself? Yes. No one held a gun to your head? No. Isn't it true that you resented your daughter-in-law from the beginning? No. Isn't it true that when they no longer needed your money, you became vindictive? No. I became protective of myself. You recorded conversations secretly. You hired investigators. You built a case against your own family. That's not protection. That's revenge. Patricia objected. The judge sustained it. But the damage was done. I could see some jurors looking at me differently. Then Michael testified. He looked at Vanessa only once, then kept his eyes on the prosecutor. Mr. Hayes, did you know your wife attempted to access your mother's accounts without authorization? No. What did she tell you she was doing? She said she was checking to make sure Mom wasn't being scammed. Did you believe her? Yes, at the time. Why? Because I wanted to believe the best of her, and because admitting the truth would mean admitting what I'd become. He told them everything: the manipulation, the false emergencies, the isolation tactics. Did you participate in lying to your mother? Yes. I knew some of the money requests were exaggerated. I knew we didn't need all of it. But I was weak. I wanted my wife to be happy. Are you testifying against her to avoid prosecution? No. I'm testifying because it's the truth, and because she needs to be held accountable. Vanessa's lawyer tried to break him. You're throwing your wife under the bus to save yourself. I'm telling the truth. You're a coward. Patricia objected, sustained. But Michael didn't flinch. Maybe I am a coward, but at least I'm an honest one now. Then Vanessa took the stand. She wore a conservative dress, hair pulled back, makeup minimal. She told a different story, about a generous mother-in-law who loved to help, about misunderstandings, about Ellen becoming paranoid in her old age. Miss Hayes, did you threaten Mrs. Hayes with institutionalization? No. I expressed concern about her living alone. That's not a threat. Did you say accidents happen? I don't remember saying that. Patricia played the recording, Vanessa's voice clear as day. You're 70 years old, living alone. Accidents happen. Vanessa's face went red. That was taken out of context. What context makes threatening an elderly woman acceptable? I wasn't threatening. I was worried. Patricia pulled out the forensic report. You spent $87,000 on luxury items while claiming emergencies. Is that worry? We deserved some enjoyment. With money obtained through lies? We didn't lie. We just simplified the explanations. The jury watched her, their faces unreadable. Closing arguments took 2 hours. Vanessa's lawyer painted her as a devoted mother trying to provide for her family. Patricia painted her as a predator who targeted a vulnerable widow. The jury deliberated for 2 days. When they came back, the forewoman stood. In the case of the state versus Vanessa Hayes, on the count of elder financial abuse, we find the defendant guilty. My breath caught. On the count of attempted identity theft, guilty. On the count of making criminal threats, guilty. On the count of coercion, guilty. Vanessa's face went white. Her lawyer put a hand on her shoulder. Michael sat behind me. I heard him exhale. Sentencing came 2 weeks later. I read a victim impact statement. I didn't want to be here. I wanted to be at my son's house, baking cookies with my grandchildren. I wanted to grow old knowing my family loved me. Vanessa Hayes took that from me. But more than that, she took my son's integrity. She taught my grandchildren that love is transactional. That family is a business deal. Vanessa spoke too. I made mistakes, but I was trying to build a future for my family. The judge looked at her. Miss Hayes, this court has seen many cases of elder abuse, but rarely one so calculated. You exploited a widow's grief and a mother's love. Sentencing: 4 years in state prison, restitution of $127,000, 5 years probation upon release, mandatory parenting classes, and a permanent restraining order preventing any contact with Ellen Hayes. They led Vanessa away in handcuffs. She looked at me one last time. Not with anger, not with remorse, with emptiness. As they led Vanessa away in handcuffs, she looked at me one last time. Not with anger, not with remorse, but with something worse, emptiness. And I realized that in trying to take everything from me, she'd lost everything herself. But justice doesn't always come with satisfaction. Sometimes it comes with sorrow. 6 months after the trial, I stood in my garden. The garden David planted. I was putting in new roses, red ones, his favorite. A car pulled up. Michael got out. Lily and Noah ran ahead. "Grandma!" Lily threw her arms around me. 7 years old now, taller. Noah hung back, shy, holding his father's hand. I knelt down. "Hi, sweetheart. Want to help Grandma plant flowers?" He nodded. We worked together in the dirt, sun warm on our backs, soil under our fingernails. Michael watched from the porch. "Mom, I started that business I always talked about. Small, but it's mine. I'm proud of you." "I'm in therapy, learning to stand up for myself." "Good." Lily looked up. "Grandma, can we have cookies?" "I made them this morning, just for you." That evening, after they left, I sat with Claire on the porch. "You did it, Ellen. You got your family back." "Not all of it. There are scars. But you're healing." I looked at David's photo through the window, his smile, his kind eyes. "I think he'd be proud," Claire said. "I hope so." People ask me if I regret taking them to court. The answer is no. I regret not standing up sooner. They ask if I've forgiven Michael. The answer is yes, but forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing to move forward. They ask if I'm lonely. The answer is sometimes, but I'm not alone. I have my grandchildren back. I have my dignity. I have peace. And I've learned that there's strength in vulnerability, power in saying no, and courage in standing alone when necessary. To anyone watching this who feels trapped by someone they love, your life is yours. Your worth is not measured by what you give, but by who you are. I'm 70 years old, and I'm just beginning to really live. And happiness can flourish even in the autumn of our lives. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, and feel free to share your story in the comments.